Well, this is just some of the video that we've seen so far. This is from Eppley Air Force Base in the Omaha area, and you can see this tornado moving right toward the camera, and as it progresses, it does take out a portion of this airport, it looks like anyway, and it is taking out this camera in just a couple of seconds, kind of knocks it off the air. So we've seen these massive tornadoes, and I mean, these are going to be tornadoes that will be surveyed, the damage as we go through the next couple of days. But look at that tree just being pulled apart right before that camera gets taken off the air. And these are going to be the EF4, EF3 at least to EF4 damaged tornadoes. As the survey crew gets out there tomorrow, we'll have much more information on it. Right now, though, western Iowa is getting hit. We're just waiting here in a very calm 62 degrees. We have an east wind at 15, gusting to about 24. But we do have dew points now back up into the mid-50s. We've been waiting for those to get a little bit higher. As this system moves in, I think we will progress to see quite a bit of moisture moving in. 50s to the 60s, you can see the wind flow. Right now, this wind gust map shows that 33 mile per hour wind right up to Denison and then into the Council Bluffs area. I want to take you over to Harlan in a second. First, though, I want to show you some of the damage from Elkhorn, Nebraska. That's just very close in the metro there of Omaha. And we need to look at that picture. That is complete and utter damage, it looks like to me. So they'll be focusing on that as we go through the next couple of days. It is going to be something to watch. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings again, precipitation rate very high in some locations, but this is a new warning that's just gotten a new outline. It was in white, that means a tornado emergency, but that's where Minburn and again, that area right around Harlan, still showing even some elements of a debris ball, which we see on radar. It's a very obvious thing when we see severe thunderstorms or tornadoes that kick up debris from these storms. So please be careful. More severe weather down in southwestern Iowa. That's where we're going to go in just a couple of minutes. This again, Jeriann? Yeah. Yeah, new tornado warning. Oh, new tornado warning, and that's just down in the Adams County area. I just showed you that. That's that brand new warning that you see right here, right up to Creston, and we're going to focus on that. You guys need to be seeking shelter there as well. The red outline means it's radar indicated, but boy, with the history of this storm, make sure you're seeking your safe place right now. Meteorologist Jason Parkin is over at the big board, and Jason, it has been a day that we will remember for a long time, just for the Nebraska folks, and we still have a long way to go before we're out of harm's way.
We really do, and you know, here's the risk area tonight. This area in the tan color, enhanced risk, and then the area surrounding it at a slight risk for severe weather as these storms move northeast. And here I've overlaid all the tornado and hail reports we've had already, with probably more to come as we head into the evening. Now let's take you into Saturday. The risk area does shift to the south, but we still have the chance to see some severe weather in Iowa, especially in areas south of I-80, and this would mainly be late in the day Saturday. Saturday night into Sunday, we're actually going to be looking at the possibility of some heavy rain and maybe even some flooding in Iowa, and we still, late in the day Sunday, Ed, have a chance for some severe weather again in the southern part of the state, so buckle up. It could be a long weekend, Ed, here in the state of Iowa.
Jason, you're right. In fact, we're going to stay on the air for a little while because we do have that tornado warning down in the Adams County area. This is coming right up to right around Creston. These severe thunderstorm warnings in that yellow, but this is that red outline, and that again is that tornado warning. Jeriann, I may have you come over and get into my radar here and start to run that a little bit and kind of show us where that is headed. This is the other tornado, but you can see that area is kind of highlighted in pink. That means that that is a radar that has been, or a tornado that has been sighted, not just radar indicated. This tornado is on the ground, and that's the one that's done so much of the damage in the Minburn area. Back over to Harlan, we have had reports that there's massive damage there as well. And into this little spot, though, that's the tornado warning I wanted to get to. You can see it at the bottom of the screen. Jason, thanks for jumping in there. We're going to show you that southwestern corner of the state, and this tornado warning is going to keep us on the air for a little while tonight. And as these storms continue to progress to the north and to the east, they still pick up a lot of severe weather. So that's that line that we're looking at right there between Clarinda and then back up to Corning, just to the west of Creston. So Creston, you're not in this warning right now, but that tornado warning is in effect until 7 o'clock, and it has a hail size right around an inch, but it is moving to the north and to the east and still keeping up a pretty good pace. Now, this whole system has slowed down just a little bit, but these isolated cells are picking up speed. And as we're showing where this is headed to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour or so, this is going to put it in the Ladoga area, right around 623, Gravity at 627, 638 for Sharpsburg, and Lenox at 645, just within that particular cell. And Jason, it does look like we're getting just a little bit of a hook echo there, but certainly the
part of that cell, yeah.
Yeah, and that's right here where we see that line just outside of the tornado box here, but that's where it is headed, back up to the north and to the east. And right now we're putting on the inflow and outflow for this particular storm. When you see the different colors really circulating right here between the greens and the blues, that's where we find that wind circulation with the radar showing the in and outflow of that system, and that creates that twist or the hook that we see often on our radar. So this is going to be one that does have that the possibility of moving continually back up to the north and to the east. I don't know if you can slide out a little bit, Jason. We'll take you out to a wider view and get back up to that Harlan area, because there are new warnings up there and they're just kind of creeping into our viewing area as well. So just west of Audubon, Manning, this is a new warning right here. And when you see that pink outline, as I mentioned, that means that we are going to see this confirmed tornado. Storm spotters, chasers out there watching this, and we've seen a lot of them throughout the day. From Irwin back down to Harlan, as I get choked up here, showers and thunderstorms continue to pile in, and this is going to be that area that's reaching that warm, very open air that we had. I'm talking about a lot of sunshine, and that creates, again, a very good chance that we have a little bit more energy to use up before that system moves to the north and to the east. And Jason, this guy's moving how fast?
40
miles per hour.
Yeah, so
debris ball showing up near Highway 59.
and that's been pretty consistent.
Jeriann and Jason back here as well. So this is that line that is continuing to progress all the way to the east, but these individual cells are tracking back to the northeast. And you can see that little notch right there. That's why we have that tornado warning back up from just out into Carroll County. We want to make sure that people in that Manning area, you're seeking shelter. There's Audubon, Highway 71, but right across Highway 59, as Jeriann mentioned, that's where we've seen a lot of that damage. Just to the Minburn area, we're going to have
Irwin, and west of Irwin.
West of Irwin, as we just showed you right there. There's Irwin, and we also have our own Roger Riley in that particular area, not right there, but close. So we're going to send him over there. He's been storm chasing throughout the day and see what kind of damage we can find. We're feeling so sorry for those folks as they are dealing with this massive storm system. We talked about these huge cells that have created these strong thunderstorms and tornadoes right across the I-80 corridor. Lots of damage in the Omaha area. I have family there trying to get a hold of them. Here's on the wider view, if we can zoom back out a little bit, Jason, we get back into that statewide view possibly, just to show where we are as far as the Des Moines area metro is. So here we have that I-80-35 corridor, but these strong thunderstorms are starting to arc out. So that's damaging wind. We're also going to see a very good chance for some hail that will last throughout the evening hours. I think this is going to progress to the Des Moines metro probably right around 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight. And that, of course, is concerning for the Drake relay. So as they're still trying to wrap up what was a delay already today because of the lightning, they're going to have to do maybe some more delays. Hopefully they can get more in tomorrow morning. Defiance, that's right there in that same spot, right along Highway 59. Been through there, Manila, and then from Irwin, just to the west of Irwin, that's that spot that has that broader view, and I think a really much better looking and organized tornado than what we saw just down to the southwest. We're just pointing that out right there. Thank you, Jason. And that's where that system now, that line is moving back up to the north and the east. I should say the whole line is moving east, but that one cell is moving to the north and to the east. So please make sure you're finding the safe place in your home, the lowest level. Stay away from windows, stay away from, put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible, but make sure that you're seeking safety for yourself and your family. This particular area just around Bedford, back up here, that's where we have that warning. Is this a new warning that's just been extended into the Clearfield area? Maybe it's adding on a little bit from the Corning area, but this is where we're finding that tornado warning continuing to move to the north and the east. That's for Adams and Taylor counties until 7 o'clock tonight. West of Creston, but in the Corning area, this is also not as well defined signatures from these tornadoes than what we're finding up around Minburn and Harlan. We had, as Jeriann mentioned, a debris ball. Now that shows up when the tornado actually picks up debris, and down at the base of that tornado, we see objects that are solid from whatever maybe structures it hit. The radar picks up on that so well, and we can see it's called a debris ball. That means that there has been damage, and boy, we've seen a lot of that even west of us. So outlined in this red area, this is going to continue to move to the north and to the east. Southwestern Iowa right now. Let's move again back up into that area right around Harlan. You can see this is that red outline. That means radar indicated tornadoes, but when we have this area, here we go, I'll get out of your way, right around Defiance that has this pink area. This is from Manning across Highway 45, 59, Irwin. That is a brand new update on this tornado. It has been, again, eliminated for the southwestern portion of that tornado, but this means it is radar indicated. When we have that pink outline, Defiance, Manila, please seek shelter. Also in Irwin. So this is tracking to the north and to the east, but that's where we find, again, these stronger storms. Looks like it may have just lost a little bit of the signature, but it is time to seek shelter, get in the basement, stay in the lowest level, check with friends that may be in that area. Make sure if you don't have a sturdy spot, you find one, because this is that time where you need to seek shelter. These are all from these massive storms, supercells coming out of Nebraska, and we're still dealing with this tonight into western Iowa. Jason?
So Ed, as I look at radar here, there seems to be one rotation right around Defiance, just north of there, kind of in this area, and it's pretty small, but the strongest rotation is actually up here in this very heavy rain and maybe small hail by Irwin. There's actually two rotations here. And again, all this is moving to the northeast. So if you're in Defiance, Irwin, Manila, I would be in your safe place right now, definitely. This is continuing to stay strong. There may be two updrafts here, but there's definitely two good areas of rotation right there.
Right. I can see it here just south of Manila. As you said, it's moving straight to the northeast. Still tracking about 30 to 40 miles per hour, so it's picked up the speed of these isolated cells. We're also seeing some of the generated radar return to the colors showing that higher DBZ level where we see maybe some hail that's up aloft, and even when we lose some of the definition of what we call the hook, and you see that hail falling at the same time, it may mean that it's starting to lose a little bit of its punch, but we still want to make sure that you stay safe. We have storm spotters that are trained, they're in that area, they are watching these storms, and they have definitely outlined this particular cell as one that is still on the ground and is moving to the northeast. Omaha, you saw that red area there. That's the flash flood warning now that is going on. There's a lot of damage there. We're going to talk about that again for the next couple of days. It'll be, it was on the NBC Evening News tonight, and they have a lot more cleanup going on. Thankfully, they're getting out of some of this severe weather, but now we're receiving the brunt of this. And really, timing is everything with these storms. When we see these storms moving in to our later afternoon hours, we see the heating of the day. That's where we were watching what's called a triple point, where everything came together right around Lincoln, and then it started to move to the east into Omaha. Now we're getting into the cooler spot of the day. I think we will lose some of that capability. We also have much lower dew points, much drier air in northeastern Iowa that is going to eat away at the potential. But these are tornado warnings. You have to take them seriously. Again, let's put a tracker, not a tracker on that, but just highlight those for me, Jason, and you're going to see the areas that are still underneath that tornado warning, all moving to the northeast. This is until 7 o'clock tonight for Adams and Taylor County, and then from Corning back up just west of Creston, we'll see this severe thunderstorm, or tornado warning, I should say, that will last until about the same time. And when we say inch in diameter hail, that's where we find severe thunderstorms, where we see that type of situation for severe weather. But you can see right in this little area here, south of Corning, you're going to see some of this highlighted area that has that purple, almost pink within it, and I think that is probably showing off some hail that's being lifted aloft out of the system. These storms have the potential to create baseball-sized hail. We saw 1 3/4 diameter hail earlier off of similar systems out just down to the southwestern corner of the state. There again is that little rotation that Jason is putting here, right here, and then the other one around Bedford where you find that little notch.
Yeah, a little bit easier to see these from the Omaha radar actually, but the strongest rotation now is southwest of Bedford. There is kind of a broad rotation north of gravity. And what you have to remember in this part of the state, of course, the radar beam is sampling the storm at probably around 7,000 feet. So we're not able to see, just because of the curvature of the Earth, what's happening close to the surface. But you can see the rotation aloft, and you can see on the radar what looks like a hook down here to the southwest of Bedford, where the precipitation is being kind of wrapped around the rotation in that storm. So that is the strongest area of rotation. And if I was in Bedford, I'd certainly be looking to get to my place of shelter right about now.
Yeah, Ed, I'm going to come over here just a
Jeriann.
second because I'm getting some new information on the Carroll and Crawford tornado warning. So if you could take Max 2, I can give Ed just a little bit of a break because it is sounding like a particularly dangerous situation. And just to remind you, this storm had a history of produced a tornado around Minden and Harlan, and now it's making its way into Carroll County as well as Crawford. Now this was about 5 minutes ago, but the tornado was located near Irwin, which we were explaining to you. We were seeing radar returns of a debris ball. And again, are we on Max 2 so you can see that tornado warning? There you go. And we did have weather spotters in that area report a confirmed tornado from this as well. As it advances off to the east-northeast at a speed of around 30 miles per hour, we're going to put a track on this for you just because it is looking like Manila is in the track of this very strong storm system that is capable and, again, producing a tornado. That is why it is highlighted in hot pink right now and is tracking east-northeast at a speed of around 30 miles per hour. So this is the strongest storm we're seeing right now. If you're in this cone or live in this community, we want you in your safe spot. And again, that would be the basement. We want you to put as many walls between you and the outside. It's been a while since we've experienced a storm system quite like this one. And I do want to show you just where a tornado watch is in effect and where we're seeing the tornado warnings. Again, the warnings are in red right now. The yellow is indicating that tornado watch, which includes parts of Dallas County as well. Pretty calm just off to the east, but we are seeing our strongest storms right now near Carroll, Creston, and right along the southern border of the state. Let's go over to Ed Wilson for an update on that storm cell that's located just to the south along the southern border of the state.
Yeah, in fact, we do have the rotation showing up here as well, and we put the Omaha radar in so we can kind of cross our paths, if you will, of these radars, because once you get closer to that radar that's in the Omaha area where these storms in western Iowa, we have a better definition of what's going on. But you can see the reds and the greens. That's where we had that spin up there just in the Bedford area as well. Now that's kind of moving to the north and the east, but from Corning, this is kind of falling apart just a little bit, but we still have those tornado warnings in effect. Not at this point, we've not heard about any type of damage in this area. We've not heard about any type of towns that have been hit. We had that emergency, tornado emergency, where Jeriann was showing us that area back up into the Crawford County area, or Crawford, Carroll, I should say, into that region in Harlan. Make sure that, again, if you have any of these types of situations where you should have that 13 Warn Me app on your phone and it's in your neighborhood, make sure you're seeking shelter right now. Let's pull back out to a wider view and show you the statewide area where we still are waiting on these storms here in central Iowa. Now we have the two radars going right now from Des Moines and then back over through Omaha. So we're crossing over into this area where we have that severe weather that is that tornado warning, still in pink, meaning that they're seeing it on the ground right now just southwest of Carroll. It is moving to the north and to the east, and as Jeriann mentioned, we do have damage reports there from Minburn and near Harlan, where we have seen that where we saw the tornado warning earlier. So Harlan, you're out of it right now. Minburn right back down to the southwest there and right across Highway 59.
Minden.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Minden. Thank you, sir. From Highway 59 and then back up to the north, that's where we're finding it. Minden, sorry guys. We are going to see these tornado warnings still popping tonight as we go through the next couple of hours. I think we're going to find a good chance for these to develop as they move farther in toward that I-35 corridor closest to the Des Moines area, probably within about at least another hour or so, I would say by 7:30. There it is again, a nice little rotation here from the Manila area, Buck Grove, Denison, and it is moving outside of Denison, but to the north and to the east. People who live in Manning, people who live in Manila obviously seek shelter right now, even into West Side, which is just outside of this tornado box. that's highlighted. That's where we need to be seeking shelter as if you live there. Carol, I'd be ready. This is going to move your way. We are going to see this big line pushing through, but that's where we just saw that tornado icon there, right into that area that is showing the rotation, and that's where we want to make sure that you're staying particularly safe at this moment. This whole line, though, is going to continue to move into eastern or western Iowa, out of western Iowa into central Iowa. It's all moving to the east at a pretty decent clip on that wide view. You're going to find, again, these bigger storms moving in. Here we are down in southwestern Iowa again from Corning. You guys are getting hit in the Sharpsburg area, Bedford. Make sure that you are ready to seek shelter. We have that severe thunderstorm watch, or warning, I should say, back down at a block, and there's a tornado watch for all of southwestern Iowa, right up to Des Moines. That tornado warning now for Adams and Taylor County in effect until 7. From the Corning area, the same situation. It's all moving to the north and the east, and that, again, will give us a good chance for the possibility of not only tornadoes, but damaging wind within those severe thunderstorm warnings and large golf ball size or larger hail. That's where we saw earlier in Nebraska, these big time hailstorms moving through, and also behind all the damage that they've had from the tornadoes along from Lincoln all the way to Omaha. Now they'll have that to deal with, and the possibility of flooding as we go through the end of this weekend. We're going to see that here as well. We still have an enhanced risk for severe weather over much of southwestern Iowa tonight. That will scoot a little bit farther to the east and be over southern Iowa throughout the evening hours tomorrow, and then Sunday, less risk for the severe weather, but again, a good chance for some flooding. That's where we have that tornado right now, down that signature from Jason down in southwestern Iowa. Jeriann, back at the weather office.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about, is the one in southern Iowa right now. A tornado warning remains in effect for these communities as well. And if we could go back to Max 2, just so I can focus on this area around Bedford, because I am seeing some rotation here. And again, the National Weather Service has put this area in a tornado warning. That would be southeastern Adams County as well as Taylor County, and that's in effect until 7 p.m. So again, the storm is capable of producing a tornado. If you do live in these communities highlighted in red right now, the basement is the best place to go. And I want to go through this tornado warning as well, just to the north of it, where we're continuing to see a very strong storm system right around the Corning area. And again, this includes Adams and Taylor County up until 7 p.m. as well. And this tornado warning, as I mentioned, is because the storm is moving off to the northeast now at a speed of around 55 miles per hour. So let's just track this for you, only because there are a lot of folks I know maybe watching us right now wondering, when is this tornado coming to our house? But I want to stress the strongest storm located in the state right now is south of Denison and just to the west of Carroll, and that's why that storm cell is highlighted in pink, and that's where we're continuing to see a lot of indication of rotation. And again, this storm system did have a history of producing a tornado, and that would be right along Highway 141 near Highway 71 as well. Manila, the Manning area, getting closer to west side, starting to see the remnants of this storm. And I'm going to track this for you just so you can see where this storm system is headed as it tracks off to the east northeast. This has been a long-lived tornado on the ground, and again moving closer to Maple River here by around 7:02. Ed Wilson, you got something?
Just watching what you're talking about there in that area where this has stayed as an observed tornado for such a long period of time, and we've talked about all the damage that we've been told about. We've not seen a lot of the pictures yet from that area right around Defiance, but also back into areas of Harlan. Make sure that you're still seeking shelter. This is really pretty much what we saw throughout the day out of Nebraska as that system continued to move through. Here we are from Gravity back down to Bedford, down in that southwestern corner of the state again. That is that circulation. Now, when the radar shows the inflow and outflow of twisting wind, that's where we see the radar indicated tornadoes, and that's when we put out those warnings from the National Weather Service and pass them along. Bedford, Conway, Gravity, all you folks need to be seeking shelter right now as this system continues to move to the northeast. You can see the polygon here from Lenox, Clearfield, Conway. Anybody that lives within this area, you need to be on the base level of the home you're in. The basement is the best place. Put all the walls that you can between you and the outdoors. Don't stand beside windows, and don't do, as we've been accused here in Iowa, of sitting out in your garage and watching these storms. That garage collects the wind and can do a lot of damage to your house and, of course, to you. Make sure that you stay safe. Bedford at 640, Conway at 651 and 654 in Sharpsburg and the Lenox area. You'll see this storm moving your way by 7:04, even though you're just, again, right in the path of this, that kind of cone. That is a pretty good assessment of where we're going to find those storms over the next hour or so. We're still sitting at 639. Most of these tornado warnings up through 7 o'clock. I expect more severe thunderstorm warnings to be added on to this, and that's why we're on the air right now, WHO 13 in Des Moines. We want to make sure when we have tornado warnings like this and we've seen all the damage, we stay on the air until the tornado warnings are eliminated so that we know that you are safe. That's our biggest priority here out of our storm team coverage. We don't like to just be on the air listening to ourselves talk. From Pickering back up to Bedford, just outside of Iowa, back down into Missouri, we have all that line of severe weather still moving in. And in particular, as we go through the evening tonight, southwestern Iowa right up to Des Moines, a tornado watch, but that's also where we had that 3 out of 4 for the risk level today. That's where we are watching these severe thunderstorms and tornadoes file in. I've got to say, as we've gone through the last couple of days, our storm path has shown exactly where most of these storms have hit, and we are watching this to continue, or waiting for this to continue a little bit farther into eastern Iowa. Tornado warning in effect to Adams and Taylor County until 7 o'clock. Inch in diameter hail as well. Jeriann?
There is, I'm sorry to interrupt, there is a little rotation to the southeast of Corning right now. I would say if you're between Corning and Lenox, if you're in the Prescott area, probably just be best to find your shelter just to be safe because that storm would be heading toward Prescott. Certainly the stronger rotation is down to just to the north of Bedford now.
Okay, I just want to remind folks at home, we don't want you to be scared here. We want you to be very smart. If we could go back to Max 1 or Max 2, excuse me, it's just a different computer. I just want to show you an animation to just remind you of where we want you to go if you are in this tornado warning. And again, the basement is the safest place to go, but we want you to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And an interior room is a good place. And what we'd really like you to do right now, we're live streaming this coverage. So if you know somebody who's stranded maybe on the interstate or wondering about these storms, you let them know, hey, you can go to WHO 13 live stream, turn up the volume, get to your safe spot, and that's the best thing to do here right now. This is just a reminder of the weather alerts in effect. We're at 642 right now. Where you see the red is where we do have tornado warnings in effect. The orange is indicating thunderstorm warnings, and the yellow is that tornado watch that remains in effect until 9 p.m. Lots of thunder and lightning right now. The strongest storm is just to the south of Carroll, but moving into Carroll County as well as Crawford County. Unfortunately, we're hearing a lot about damage out of the Harlan area, and this is where that tornado did start. And right now we're seeing some radar returns near the Manning community. That's the area where I would be in my basement. Now Sac City is just experiencing some rainfall at this point. Again, nothing is happening in the city of Des Moines, but parts of Dallas County remain under that tornado watch until 9 p.m. This shows you the big picture of what's going on. These are the storms that did produce tornadoes out of Nebraska. They're now making their way into western Iowa. We have kind of two different bands, one close to Carroll at this point and another strong storm complex capable of producing tornadoes around the Creston area. Let's go back to Max 1 and go through the different tornado warnings in effect right now.
Yeah, Jerry, we're going to go back here. We're also going to take you out from this area. This is southwestern Iowa where the tornado warning continues. That circulation was around Bedford, moving up toward Clearfield. As Jeriann said, stay smart, stay safe. We want to make sure that if you are maybe at home, as kids are sometimes without their parents, make sure you stay in the lowest level of the basement as possible. Turn up your TV, stay tuned with that, with our coverage here at WHO 13 and of course at on Iowa's Weather Channel. Here's where we have that outline showing This is still a confirmed tornado from Manila back up to Manning, and now it's extended back up to Carroll and Crawford until 10 o'clock, or until 7 o'clock, I should say, and this is that Vail area. I'll let you put another, again, a warning on that one, but that's where Jason is in the Crawford area showing off that tornado warning until 7:30 now. So from Denison to Vail, but this is where we're watching for some high-level returns. Also, just to the east of that area, that's where we have this brand new tornado warning. Our own Roger Riley is out on the road looking toward the Harlan area. So he's on the west side of the, I'm sorry, looking toward Denison, that same specific area, but that's where he's on the west side of this system as it is continuing to move to the east. He has seen debris in the field. Our producer, Paul Liepert, is telling me this is from the damaged area between what we're looking at here on radar and then back over toward Omaha. So the highlighted box that you find here is that tornado watch in effect until 9 o'clock, tornado warnings until 7 in southeastern or southwestern Iowa, and then farther to the north, we have those new warnings right up into Crawford County, coming out of Carroll and Crawford County from 7 until 7:30. You can see as we're rolling behind the system with that video. It is so dark. There is a lot of damage that Roger's been close to today. We make sure that he stays safe. He is always so diligent to make sure that he gives us the best stories, the best pictures, but it's not worth it if he's not going to be safe. Closer in here from Denison, there we are, back down to around the area just south of Denison from Irwin. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings here, but this highlighted, these two boxes here highlighted with tornadoes that have been spotted. They are on the ground. They continue to move just to the north and to the east. So if you're in Denison, this is a pretty decent return as well. Just where these two boxes collide or overlap, that's where we're finding really that very strong signature. So as it moves to the north, it's going to be in Vail by 6:54, 7:07 in Boyer River. This is all a very good possibility that this tornado that's still on the ground has debris with it. As we've said, we've seen lots of damage like that from Omaha to Nebraska to Lincoln today, and now it's still moving throughout western Iowa. Clearing skies out to the east of us, so still for the Drake relays, looking okay for the moment, but these storms do have lightning attached as well. That's their biggest threat right now as they are trying to wrap up the Drake relays for this Friday. They'll be busy again tomorrow, and it does look drier, by the way. Just start off the day, but more storms tomorrow night. Here's that line as we put our scope on it and showing you the velocity around these storms from gravity back just southwest of Lenox. That's still a tornado warning. Radar indicated it has not been spotted yet on the ground, nor have we heard of any damage in that southwestern corner of the state. Not quite as populated there for sure, but it's continuing to move to the north and the east at a pretty decent clip. Jeriann, what are you seeing now?
Yeah, I just keep watching this tornado warning, and again, I'm on Max 2 here, and you can see that area is highlighted in hot pink, but the strongest part of the storm is right along Highway 30 at this point, and that would be in between Vail and the Arcadia area. And again, this exact storm is tracking to the north, and it's continuing to look and give us strong radar returns as well. We also have another tornado warning just to the south of it, right along Highway 141. And this is where that storm complex started around the Harlan area and is now advancing off to the north and making its way into Carroll and Crawford County. So that's where I'm continuing to see the strongest activity, mainly rainfall around the Greenfield area. And again, the other tornado warnings are in southwest Iowa. Now, this is where we've been telling you we've been seeing some breaks in the clouds throughout the day today, a little sunshine breaking through as well. But you can see how things are all calm around the city of Des Moines and areas to the east. Just a reminder, these areas shaded in yellow remain under that tornado watch in effect until 9 p.m. The tornado warnings at this point, mainly in Crawford County, just kind of on the fringes of Carroll County there. But I'm going to go in close, and these red boxes indicate areas that remain under that tornado warning. So when we tell you we want you to seek shelter in these communities, this is what we're talking about. And it is right along Vail on Highway 30 in between Denison and Arcadia, and also right around the Manila area as well. And let's go to that tornado warning in southern Iowa too, so you can just see some communities that are impacted in that tornado warning at this point, and it's Prescott to the Lenox area as well. So let me put on the radar picture here so you can see
if you want
what we're seeing. Okay, great. Let's go back over to Max 1 so you can see that track. And this is that tornado warning again for Adams, Taylor County. And that is for about the next 10 minutes. It is still showing rotation on radar. We're getting confirmation. Lots of storm spotters are out. I did see some reports earlier of some storm spotters that came across the tornadoes that hit near Harlan and also Minden area, and they said, hey, we had to stop and just help because emergency crews are busy working in western Iowa at this point.
Jerry, and I'm seeing the same imagery as we go through this afternoon and evening. We asked for the permission to use some of this. We'll try to get it to you, but yeah, the Minburn, just saw some video from that area up in western Iowa, back up just to the west of Harlan. That's where we had that tornado warning, and again, a confirmed tornado. These storm spotters go out, they get us some great information, but they also stop, they help. They want to make sure that people are safe, and there's a lot of damage there. They're talking about some massive damage up in Minburn. Here's that tornado warning. Minden, I'm sorry, I keep saying Minburn. Minden, thank you very much, Paul. This is where that tornado warning continues for Lenox, back up toward Highway 34. You need to be seeking shelter there as well. But this is, again, this same line that's all moving to the east at a pretty decent rate, but these individual cells continue to pick up this velocity. They continue to pick up that spin. We've had a pretty strong wind shear at the base level, and that gives us all of that spin. So make sure that you are seeking shelter if you live in the Erling area, up just toward Carroll, and then up towards Stewart. You guys are going to be right on the edge of this right now. Anybody traveling on I-80 is going to find reduced visibility, also some very gusty wind coming out of this system. Tornado warnings still with that highlighted confirmed tornado between Denison and Carroll. And when you look at the polygon where
yeah, Carroll has been lifted now from that.
I see it.
Yep,
it's right
between,
between these two, but this is where we have that polygon where it's showing the north east and north, almost straight north view and distance between Denison and Carroll, but it is moving straight to the north at about 30 to 40 miles per hour, and you can see some decent spin there as well, just right around that Carroll area back to Denison. This is going to continue now at 38 miles per hour as we're watching the Vale area, Boyer River, and Wall Lake. You need to be ready to seek shelter here. Even though Wall Lake is outside of that warning, we could continue to see this sustained tornado on the ground. It's still highlighted in pink, meaning that there are storm spotters there watching that tornado, the same one that has done so much damage throughout western Iowa, that particular space in western Iowa. Here in Des Moines, still dry. We're still waiting for this. We're still on the air because these tornado warnings really make sure that we stay on the air to make sure you stay safe until they're eliminated as we go through the rest of the night. But we still have a very good chance to see these long-lived storms continue to press from Creston. Even that Bow Echo on the outside of that showing some very strong wind that's pulling in just into the Creston area. Highway 34 is not going to be an easy drive tonight east-west as this system continues to gain some strength. And look at what's trailing behind this, where we're seeing more evidence that these stronger thunderstorms are kind of training in the same location. It's like a train car going across the track one after another. That's going to mean some heavy-duty rainfall as that continues to widen out and showing more returns down to the south and to the west. That's not our biggest concern right now. Of course, the tornado warnings really taking precedent here from just southwest of Creston and then just to the west of Carroll toward Denison, and between Denison and Carroll now, that's where that line continues to move back up to the north. Denison is just outside of that tornado warning, but that's the one that still has not just radar indicated, but observed tornadoes on the ground, Jeriann.
Yeah, I wanted to go and show you the different storm reports from across the state, and obviously the most coming in around Council Bluffs in the Omaha area, and that's unfortunately where we're seeing some of the worst damage as well. But all these boxes represent areas where we had confirmed tornadoes on the ground. Some hail reports earlier around the Carroll area. And again, there is a tornado watch still in effect in between Carroll and right around Creston. We do have one tornado warning in effect now for Crawford County, and this is that confirmed tornado. The strongest part of the storm has now lifted north of Highway 30, and that's right around the Vale area as well. But again, if this continues its track, and I think it will, northward, Odebolt would be in the target of this storm, and that will be crossing over the county border here shortly. So we do have a new tornado warning coming in, or an update on this. So let me just check some information maybe from some storm spotters here as well. And it is indicating that, you know, the spotters on the ground continue to confirm that this is producing a tornado. And I'm going to take you just across the state here and show you the latest on this system in southern Iowa. This is so devastating to see. Harlan hit by the tornado, or we're at least getting reports of that. They're still dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning as well as these storms continue to back build. And this is that tornado warning coming in right now for southern Iowa, just saying, hey, it's staying in effect as well.
You're exactly right. That's where these storm spotters come in. Again, we want to make sure everybody's safe. Our own Roger Riley always stays safe within this storm. He ran out and watched this tornado line move across western Iowa. He watched it move out of Nebraska, and now he's behind this system. So following in, trailing in behind this severe weather. We also have some video from the Shelby tornado. Shelby, Iowa, that's where we had a lot of damage there as well, and that is continuing to give us some concern that these storms are going to hold together for quite a while. There's that tornado on the ground there near Shelby, western Iowa, the tornado damage with some of the outbuildings there. We are going to see, I think, look at this massive damage right near the Shelby area. This just is going to continue to highlight how important it is that we stay here with you, make sure that you stay safe. But this has, in Nebraska anyway, I've seen injuries there. I've not seen any injuries reported here, but when you see that kind of damage from these tornadoes, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see some of that coming up later. Let's go back down to the radar and show you what it looks like with that spin here right around Highway 34. Again, in southwestern Iowa, there's Clearfield, and just south of Lenox, you can see where we have that inflow outflow, that shear going in and out, and that's where we have that spin there. Also a secondary tornado up near Prescott, moving to the north and to the east. So if you're in Lenox, seek shelter right now. You should be seeking shelter from all the tornado warnings that we've had. And then Kent back up to Creston, but especially right in this little location, right around Highway 34. That's where it is moving to the north and to the east. You can see that line, and a brand new tornado warning now coming off of that same one for Adams, Ringgold, Taylor, and Union County. So we're just seeing one after another, and I expect that, as Jason and I were just talking here a minute ago, it doesn't look like this is going to end real soon. This is going to be a long-lived situation as we go through the overnight tonight into the evening hours, I should say. By the overnight, it should clear up a bit, and Saturday's starting off much calmer. This is that area that is highlighted, kind of blinking there for you, from Adams, Ringgold, Taylor counties, and back up to Highway 169 north of Arispe. That's where we're going to find some tough travel. Adair, Adams, and Union County within this line, Highway 34, back up north of Creston is where we have that line. But here's from Lenox, that's where I'm really concerned that this could be moving right across Lenox right now and then moving back up to the Highway 34 corridor. Again, much more of an open space here. We don't have a lot of larger cities in that southwestern corner of the state, but even so, we want to make sure that everybody who is in the line of this knows where this is going as we continue our extended coverage here all the way through our 6 o'clock and now up to about almost 7. Right across Highway 34, that's that inflow, outflow, and as I get out of the way, the last hour or so, you're finding that storm lengthening and drawing in more wind at the surface, the shear that is spinning up these tornadoes. And look what's happening behind it, where we have these stronger signatures just west of Lenox, and then even back just to the west of Corning, more storms redeveloping in the wake of these big tornadoes that have been moving through, especially to the north there. As we go a little bit farther to the north into that area that Jeriann's been watching, boy, that has just been a long-lived tornado on the ground as storm spotters watch it continually redevelop and stay on the ground. It's still not just radar indicated, but it is on the ground. And our spotters there from Crawford County, that's the new warning that we have until 7:30 now. This is near Denison and to West Side, right between here. That's where we're finding Highway 30, US 30. That's going to be the direction of this, but just east of Denison and where we have all of these tornado warnings in that crosshair, that's where we're finding some of the most definite spin and showing off what the radar is seeing, but even more so what those storm spotters are finding on the ground. Still a tornado that is moving on the ground across Highway 30. A lot of traffic there, of course, east-west. It's a pretty heavily trafficked thoroughfare for western Iowa, but anybody traveling right now needs to be seeking shelter, pulling off, and make sure that you stay weather aware. Lowest portion of the home that you live in, the structure that you're in, basement is the best place to be, but you can see that circulation at 141 west of Manning and right to the east of Buck Grove, and then the secondary rotation from west side on to Highway 30 and then back over to Denison, and that's where we're finding some of the biggest rotation. Jeriann?
I'm going to read through the latest information because we are getting a confirmed tornado on the ground. Pictures coming in from Manila here at the top of the hour. It's almost 7 p.m. I'm meteorologist Jeriann Ritter alongside Jason Parkin and Ed Wilson. Again, this was a confirmed tornado located over Manila. So if we can go back to Max 1 just so we can show this area of concern right now. Flying debris, obviously dangerous. We are seeing the tornado near Wall. I'm not familiar with that town. Ed, are you? Yeah. And that was at 7:05. West Side is 7:15.
Just crossed 141 there by Manila.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Arcadia, and that's around 7:20 as we track this. But this tornadic thunderstorm is going to impact Arcadia as well as Manila. That's where we're seeing the reports of the tornado. Actually, an image of this large tornado right around Manila as that advances off to the east northeast. And it is continuing to track northeast at a speed of around 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, and in some of these smaller towns, you look at Manila, Highway 141, right off the side there, you need to be seeking shelter. But we have a lot of smaller burgs there, smaller towns, but also a lot of folks that have been out, I'm sure, trying to get planting done ahead of the storm. Hopefully, farmers are out of harm's way now, but make sure that if you have friends that live there, maybe you're watching this on the air, they may not be. I'm sure that they know that there's severe weather, but let them know this is the real deal as far as tornadoes. This is tornado action on the ground tonight from west side back over toward Arcadia and Maple River. Now this is moving to the north and to the east, and it's still moving at around 30 to 40 miles per hour. So it's not particularly speedy, but it is just slowing down, and that tornado warning is going to last for a while, as I said, right through at least 7:30 tonight. We have that extra tornado box here from Highway 39 back over to West Side, Denison, in between. You need to be in your safe space right now. And then from Manila down to the south, look at that redeveloping. That's a severe thunderstorm warning back down toward Irwin that had that tornado warning earlier. But this line continues to produce a lot of severe weather. Not just tornadoes. We can expect that when we have that tornado warning with the observed tornado on the ground. But we could see some damaging wind and even large golf ball or larger size hail. I did see an 1.75 inch diameter hail just reported when we first started our weather coverage coming out of Nebraska into western Iowa. Carol, you're just outside of that, but make sure that you're seeking shelter. We love that town. We've been there with RVTV, great community. Quite a few folks living in there. Make sure that you're seeking shelter. Same thing with Manning, Denison. Everybody needs to be right now in the ground level, on the ground level, covering. Make sure that you stay away from those windows. We talk about bicycle helmets. Good idea to put one of those on when you're in a tornado warning. You're in your safe space, and it does help to keep you protected, but also make sure you have shoes on. That's another thing people don't think about. Once you have a tornado that moves through, we've seen a lot of damage. You need to have protective wear for your feet as well as you're trying to get out. From Denison back to the north and to right across up to west side, I would be most concerned with this area right across Highway 30. That's where we're finding some of that spin, but also some pretty decent looks like notches just starting to form here, that hook echo, a possibility. For Crawford County, that tornado warning in effect. You can see it kind of pulsing there until 7:30 this evening. This is just going to be a part of a very long-lived storm system. We've talked about it throughout the week. We've talked about how we need to make sure that we're staying prepared, and now everything's coming to fruition here. And not only just here in the western Iowa and southern Iowa, but also farther down into Missouri. We have severe weather that is just feeding into this particular line. It's along a pretty classic looking storm system, big low pressure system that's drawing in all this extra moisture. We had a little bit of heating today, but we were waiting on the dew points to really start to elevate, and they made it back up into the 60-degree range. Pretty good looking stuff right there, Jason.
Yeah, the couple of areas of rotation continue down here. I keep waiting for this storm near Creston to kind of fall apart, but the cell merger there, where those two cells that come together, it looks like it's hasn't stopped anything from rotating down there for sure. And so what you see here is kind of that hook just southwest of Creston, and then another hook, let's see, just southwest of Creston, right kind of in this area, and then another one down here by Lenox. And boy, that area down by Lenox, you can really see the hook down there just southeast of town. Definitely in those areas you want to be taking shelter.
And it is that definite rotation from the radar that we're seeing there in southwestern Iowa. Kent, you guys need to be seeking shelter now. You can see just southwest of Kent, between Lenox and Kent, that's where we have that definite inflow-outflow, the red to the green, and that is where we have that spin that is that tornado. We expect possibly doing some damage there. We don't have spotters there that have confirmed it, but I got to tell you, that is a very good signature, a very bad signature for folks who are living there, but it really shows off that inflow-outflow as that system continues to move to the north and to the east. I'm seeing some damage reports again back up into western Iowa and also coming out of Omaha, a family that lived there. Again, just very close to Eppley Air Force Base. They said that there's a lot of damage there at that Air Force Base, a lot of folks without power. We've heard over 6,000 people just into the Council Bluffs area on this side of Omaha still dealing with power outages. And look at these little snakes coming back out of the back part of this system. These are strong thunderstorms that are producing severe thunderstorm warnings outside of the tornado warnings. Redevelopment like this right here, just west of Creston. This is what we're going to find tonight. And I think it's going to be kind of indicative of what we'll find over the weekend, especially Saturday night to Sunday. We're going to find these systems moving in again on the same areas. We haven't talked about flooding for a long time in Iowa, but that could be the case by the time we hit Saturday night to Sunday morning. From Grant City back into Missouri, Clearfield, Creston, these two tornado warnings all moving to the north and to the east, right across Highway 169 and back up to the cross section, the T intersection of Highway 34. If you live within the Creston area, you need to be seeking shelter. Clearfield, you're kind of on the back part of that, but I do see some strong to severe thunderstorm action just behind the system. So even though we get outside of these tornado warnings, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see more severe thunderstorm warnings, which can always, in this environment, produce another tornado. So the all clear has certainly not been shouted out here tonight. We're not going to find that for a while.
Watch those, those storms coming out of Missouri there by Grant City.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in the same environment, moving up toward Lamoni. So we're going to have to keep an eye on those. Don't sleep on those. I'm hoping the storms from Corning back down to Atchison down in Missouri, they're going to be moving through some area that's been worked over already. So I'm hoping that we just maybe get some hail out of those, but you just don't know. You got to keep an eye on all of this stuff down here in southwest Iowa for sure.
Virtue of a new tornado warning in effect, and this one is in effect for northwestern Union, eastern Adams, as well as southeastern Adair County. Now at 7:05, it was reported a confirmed tornado over Creston, moving northeast at a speed of around 40 miles per hour. And again, this just came in, a damaging tornado. We've been getting some radar indication of some spin, but now this is a confirmed tornado. So that's a difference when the box is being highlighted in pink versus red. We're seeing some indication of some spin there around the Creston community. And I'm going to put a track on this storm system. We're also getting new reports out of this tornado warning out of Crawford County as well. And you can see how these tornado warnings are highlighted in pink as a result of these tornadoes on the ground right now, reporting some damage. And this just came in right before 7 p.m. reporting that the tornado is moving off to the east northeast west side around 7:15. Again, it is 7:10. And I'm going to just show you the wide picture here of the tornado warnings in effect. Again, the biggest concern around the Creston area right now, also near Carroll. But these strong to severe thunderstorms are just pretty much sitting in western Iowa. They're slowly advancing off to the east northeast. And I do think as they continue to move off to the east northeast here, let's say by 8, 9, 10 o'clock, they will start to die down. But at this point, these are the strongest storms we're seeing on the big picture of radar. I'm going to widen out the view here just so you can see these storms continuing to be extremely intense, and reports of tornado and debris near the hospital in Creston. So let's go back to the Creston tornado if we can.
In that southwestern corner, we're also getting some new pictures. They'll be into us as we get closer to our 10 o'clock newscast, but Minden has just received a major blow. Lots of damage there, lots of debris that's been left behind. So here's this area right around Creston. We have, again, some indication that we do have some debris that's being pulled up. You can see, wow, that red to green, that's where we have the circulation right over Creston, close to the hospital. Some debris, as Jeriann mentioned earlier. So this is going to be another very, very strong tornado that is on the ground. Spotters watching it move through. It has that outline of pink, meaning that it is observed. That tornado for Adair and Adams and Union counties in effect until 7:45. Right up to about 3/4 of an inch diameter hail. But we have such a strong surface wind as this system moves in, the front approaches that. That's where we're getting that spin, and that's why it's not going to be, I don't think, a quick resolve here out of these storms. I think we'll still see quite a bit of tornadic action tonight. Creston right at 7:10. So right now you need to be obviously seeking shelters. We mentioned your town's names. That means you need to be ready to get to the lowest point of the building you're in, your safe space. Maxburg also, then all the way back up outside of that Orient area is just on the outside of that, but this is all moving to the northeast, and this is that double kind of overlap. This tornado warning down to the south, a new tornado warning forms on top of that, and that's where we have this definite, obvious spin where we look at the velocity of that wind off of the radar. It is something that is pretty awesome to see, but also we know that there are tornadoes right there on the ground. From Kent, you need to be seeking shelter back over to just west of Arispe and then toward Afton, Creston. That's where we have that tornado signature. This is outside of the confirmed tornado, but when they're so close together like this, we, again, not close enough to call the twin twisters, but we have tornadoes that are forming a very definite hook echo there just southeast of Kent. Make sure that you're seeking shelter as this tornado warning will go until 7:45 for Adams, Ringgold, Taylor, and Union. So from Kent to Arispe to Tingley, you guys need to be seeking shelter. Get down in the basement as you go through the next hour or two. This is going to be another system, even though it's not these isolated cells are only moving at 30 to 40 miles per hour. This line is stretching out and it continues to gain strength. Just kind of picking up that extra clear sky that we had today. A lot of sunshine there, allowed to heat up the environment. And that's where we're finding is some of these strongest storms with that front coming in behind it. Now, we do have a good chance for this system to draw in more storms behind it. I think we will see what I mentioned earlier is the training effect. So more of that heavy rain pushing through Corning to Creston, Tingley, Arispe. You need to be seeking shelter right now. Let's go back up to that west central portion of the state. Boy, Carroll, back down to Atlantic. Jeriann, are you beamed in on that one right now?
Yeah, I was just thinking, how about I focus on that one in northwest Iowa and you guys focus on the one in southern Iowa, just because we do have so much information coming in right now for both these tornadoes. And at this point, that tornado warning for northwest Iowa, and that's right around west side, it has been changed, and I'm going to click on this just so I can get some new information from those folks that are near that tornado. And again, this is coming in at 7:12, so this is current information. And they have moved it, notice, from a pink box to a red box. So this is just indicating that it's radar indicated. But the high concern here is just because this storm did produce a tornado. And we're continuing to see some tornado circulations possible further off to the south. When we're looking at tornadoes, we tend to look to the south, and that's where we do see some strengthening occurring as well. I'm going to go to the tornado warning that is highlighted here in hot pink just so you can see the difference. And again, this one is just to the west of West Side, and that's for Crawford County, in effect until 7:30 as well. And the last information we got on this tornado came from a train spotter, and that was around 7:07, just seeing that a damaging tornado. Again, it was radar confirmed at that point. And these storms continue to advance, and let's see here. I've got that right around the Vail area. So the one thing I'm noticing from all these storms is that they continue to track over the same area that's already been hit extremely hard, and they're really struggling to make their way across the state. So these are slow movers, but based on this, you can see the strongest storm located in Crawford County making its way into Carroll County right now. And then of course we did tell you about the tornado warning that we're hearing reports of debris and it being reported around the Creston area. That continues to strengthen as that moves off to the east northeast as well.
Looking at some very dramatic video as well from the Manila area, just in that northwestern portion where you're looking at that storm, Jeriann. That's just amazing video. We have these storm chasers that hopefully are all well trained and know what they're doing, but that did not look like the place that this chaser probably wanted to be, that tornado moving right across a vehicle. We'll try to get that video for you later to show you maybe what not to do. From Creston right now, you need to seek your shelter. This is another storm center that's right down around Grant City. It just has a severe thunderstorm warning. That's over in Missouri, by the way. But we're starting to see some decent signature out of this, some spin that continues to give us an indication that it could go to at least severe levels for severe thunderstorms, but also possibly a tornado. Again, it's quite a ways away from our radar, and when you have the curvature of the Earth, the farther away the storm is, the higher the radar lifts up into the atmosphere. So it's just seeing the tops of that, but we're a little bit concerned about that one. Not as much as these warned areas already from Lenox, Diagonal, but Creston, look at this system right over your doorstep here. Please make sure that you're seeking shelter. This is that Highway 34 area that has been hit hard throughout the afternoon and evening, but we have a couple of areas there rotating just to the north of Creston, the other one down to the south and the east. These two are moving to the northeast, but these are rotations that have been not only significant on our radar, but this one is still outlined, that particular storm is still outlined, warning I should say, with that observed tornado sitting on the ground, still spinning away and moving to the northeast. So Adams, Ringgold, Taylor, Union County down in this red area. And again, we have some pretty heavy duty precipitation rates of over an inch an hour of rainfall. You know, we've been looking past the severe levels of the tornadoes, but we thought maybe we would see some flooding possibly out of this. And if this continues, that will be the case by the time we hit Saturday into Sunday, coming out of drought conditions the last 4 years. Hard to believe that we're dealing with that, but that is Iowa weather, especially in April. Creston, that's where that storm is moving out away from your particular town, but that edge of town, but you need to be seeking shelter as well. These two storms, these two centers that we were watching spin away, they are moving northeast up toward Highway 169 and moving at about 41 miles per hour to the northeast. Maxburg just outside of that, but a brand new warning just kicking in as Jason was outlining that, but I'll get out of the way. You can see St. Charles, Winterset. You guys are now underneath that tornado warning. We'll highlight that for you, give the details as it moves to the northeast and continues along this massive line of severe weather, Adair, Madison, and Union counties. So southwestern Madison, right up to Adair and Union. You need to be seeking shelter as this line continues to highlight and give us really the results of what has been a severe weather day. Still that tornado warning in effect as it moves to the north and to the east. There's that new severe thunderstorm warning we're showing as well from Greenfield back up to Stewart in that area. From Cass County, we are going to see Adair County as well underneath some severe thunderstorm warnings. And you can see this line where that stronger cell is down to the south coming off of that, moving to the north and to the east. So 727 Maxburg, it'll be there for you in Winterset, a town that is very familiar with damaging tornadoes at around 744. Make sure that you're seeking shelter right now as that system moves to the northeast, and that particular cell still has these two areas spinning away and showing us some very definite spin south of Creston back up to Spalding. That's where we're finding these two isolated areas, although that tornado warning is expanding as it goes to the north and the west. Want to make sure everybody's covered and taken care of, but those two particular radar returns showing a very definite tornado, and of course within that we have spotters that are watching this tornado on the ground as they continue. Now as we get closer to dark, as we get closer to some of these very heavily, the storms producing a lot of heavy rain, those tornadoes get rain wrapped, and that's when storm spotters say enough is enough. Smart storm spotters say enough is enough, and they get out of the way of severe weather. Jeriann?
Just seen reports of folks that are joining us here in the metro area, but I want to stress we are hearing reports of tornadoes on the ground in northwest Iowa, in southwest Iowa. I heard from somebody in Madison County that said, hey, the storm that hit Winterset also started around the Creston area. So they are concerned as we are getting reports of a tornado on the ground around the Creston area as well. Unfortunately, my computer on Max 2 is locked up. So if we could just put radar up on Max 1 so I can walk you through a few of these thunderstorms that I want to walk you through. Again, we still have a tornado warning in effect for Crawford County. The strongest part of the storm system right now is north of Vail, and you can see some rotation continuing there. And again, that would be along Highway 30. This would be just to the east of the Denison area. It's very distinct. Thank you, Jason Parkin, for drawing that in there so you can see that rotation. But pretty much what we've been seeing in the last hour, and this started just around 6:20, we're now around 7:20, as that these storms just continue to back build, and hence why we're getting the high radar returns and the high rainfall totals coming in as well. As that complex moves off to the east northeast, we've been concerned about west side tonight. Well, you're going to get another round here at 7:24, the Arcadia area around 7:30, and you can see Maple River right around the 7:37 time frame as well. But let's widen out the view if we can and put this into motion. I just want to explain to folks that where we're seeing these strong to severe thunderstorms right now, they will continue to weaken as we get closer to sunset. So the greatest chance for rotation to occur is west of I-35 at this point. Now, I don't want your guard down. Obviously, we're on because these tornado warnings are on the ground and leading to damage. So areas around Creston, that's where we want you in your basement. Of course, Winterset is now in that new tornado warning as well as that storm system advances off to the east northeast. But as these get over I-35, we are anticipating them to not be quite as strong as what we're seeing right now. And you can see the rotation has moved rather quickly past the Creston area near Highway 169 there as well. But yeah, right there's a rotation, Highway 34 just to the south. It's almost like we have two different complexes, which would not surprise me based on what we're seeing with the storm system so far.
Basically two supercells right next to each other down there.
And everyone I've seen reports from that are on the scenes of this continue to describe this as a very large, dangerous situation. And again, if we could just put a track on that just for folks so they can see, Madison County is in the track of this new tornado warning. And notice though, Madison County at this point, we're just trying to give you tons of heads up around the Winterset community. You are not in the warning that says, hey, it's confirmed. But as it tracks off to the east northeast, we are anticipating it to weaken just a bit. Now, will it weaken before it gets to Winterset? I can't promise you that, but you can see it's not making its way to Winterset until 7:48 at this point.
And I'm just getting some more information as well from that area that is just around Highway 141 and Manila. A lot of damage there. We're still going to see, again, that severe line of weather, of storms producing these tornadoes that are just lining up one after another. And that's why we're still on the air as we go through 722 this evening. Again, we need to be on the air to make sure that people in these warned areas are safe. It's part of our job and our duty, but we also are watching these storms that you think, well, this is going to end, right? We're getting into some cooler air of the evening. Not so tonight. We just have all the energy placed in a perfect spot here. Not quite so much as the extreme damage that was done back in Nebraska, but at a triple point there around Lincoln, where everything came together today. We're still riding out this portion of the storm. So it has reduced in some of the intensity, but we are finding tornadoes that are sitting on the ground for a very long period of time. They are observed, as we mentioned, back up in the Carroll area, back into Crawford County. That's where they've had a lot of damage tonight. Creston, you guys are under the gun right now, and this is moving up closer to Winterset, back up into Madison County, Dallas County. You're still under a tornado watch in Dallas County, back down to Madison County until 9 o'clock tonight, and for good reason. I'm glad that they put the watch out there for us. You can see this line across Highway 30, just northeast of Denison, moving towards Sac City. Make sure that you are seeking shelter now between Carroll back over to Denison. That's where we have that tornado that's on the ground. You can see that highlighted pink area. And boy, look at the inflow and outflow of that. That is some classic, but also a very long stretch of that inflow outflow. The big twist is right there, just outside of that boundary, and where it overlaps into that next tornado down near the Manning area toward Carroll. This is going to be that line where you need to stay sheltered in place, away from all the windows, many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. I know I get tired of saying it, but we want to make sure that you take this seriously tonight. This is not a test run by any means. These are massive, strong, and long-lived tornadoes that have moved through and out of Nebraska.
Not to interrupt you, new warning. That storm we were talking about in northern Missouri now, I'll get some info on that here. That has moved into southern Iowa. That would be moving toward, this is Ringgold County, until 8 p.m., moving northeast at 45. So I want to take a look at the rotation on this and get a hail track on it for you here.
Absolutely, and that never worry about interrupting. We're doing storm team coverage. We're a family here. You just interrupt and you get in as fast as you can.
We throw food at each other, whatever it takes.
That's right. But we want to make sure that we get those details out as soon as they become available.
I'm going to have Jason work on that one as I'm working on this tornado warning in northwest Iowa. They're getting some indication of rotation now into Sac County as well, which does not surprise me.
And this one down here, you know, it's so far from the radar. So we're looking at probably 8,000 feet down here by Grant City, but even down there you can see at the top of the storm indications here of rotation. So if there is a tornado, you know, when you're 8,000 feet up, it's tough to tell where it is at the surface, but it would probably be somewhere in this area. So if we're moving northeast at 45, Mount Air, you'd be looking at around 7:47 p.m. when it would get to your neck of the woods, and we're going to keep an eye on this. So folks, obviously down to the south of Mount Air, good time to get into shelter right now. This storm is moving through the same environment all these other storms have, so it makes sense that it would produce tornadoes much like the other ones have. And as Jeriann mentioned earlier, I think as these things move east, they're going to be getting into some cooler air that's already been worked over today. The turning of the winds aloft isn't as good. The wind shear over central Iowa isn't as good as it was over southwest Iowa. So again, just hoping here that things start to calm down as they move east, but until then we have some work to do, and folks need to stay safe and get in shelter here in these warnings.
Yeah, let's go to Max 2 real quick for Jeriann.
I was just tweeting this out on social media as well, but this is a little bit of an indication of this. Again, I don't want to minimize the strength of these storms, but it changed from a tornado warning now to a severe thunderstorm warning, and that will remain in effect until 8:15. Again, the strongest part of the storm at this point, they are indicating there is still very strong rotation around the Creston area. So Jason, Parkin, you get ready for that one as I finish talking about the severe thunderstorm warning for northwest Iowa, Audubon, Calhoun, Carroll, Crawford, Greene, Pocahontas, Sac, and Webster. And that's just giving us some indication that these storms could still contain some very large hail as well as damaging winds, but we're not seeing as strong of rotation at this point. The strongest part of the storm located right around Lakeview and Carroll. So let's go to the latest on that tornado warning around Creston.
We're going to head right back down there right as you speak, back to Max 1, and you're seeing what what we're watching as far as the rotation of this guy, and it's a couple of them there from around Clearfield to Creston, moving all the way back up, moving toward the Lorimore area, toward Winterset. We have some good rotation there, and that's the one that Jason was tracking earlier, just south of there. In fact, from Mount Air, where we have that tornado warning, that was coming out of Missouri. So we're still watching these tornadoes hold together very well in this kind of quilt-like fashion of tornadoes. This is a outline here from Creston of an observed tornado on the ground. Tornado warning extending back up to Winterset now, and then these other tornadoes for the Adair, Adams, Union County. That's the highlighted tornado that's on the ground. That goes until, again, right after 7:45. 7:45 also for Ringgold and Union counties down in the south, right across Highway 169 for Tingley, Clearfield, and then again farther south into the Ringgold area, Mount Air. Another spot that is, you guys need to be seeking shelter right now. As Jason mentioned, this radar that we're using up here north is so far away from the cell that it's way above the ground, but we are still getting some good information there that it's at least lifting some massive amounts, probably of hail, also of that spin and that high velocity wind. Make sure you're seeking shelter in Mount Air. Farther to the north, Adair, Madison, Union counties, tornado warning in effect. It is radar indicated at this point, but up to an inch diameter hail certainly possible within that. And as Jeriann was mentioning, as we go into western Iowa, we see some of these tornado warnings turning into severe thunderstorm warnings, which is a good thing, but a tornado warning can come out of a severe thunderstorm warning. So even though they're losing a little bit of a punch as we go through the latter evening hours where things start to cool off and calm down usually, this is an unusual system. It has held together very well all the way west of Lincoln. The same scenario that you've heard about with these massive storms in Lincoln and Omaha, this is the same system, all holding together within about the last 3 to 4 hours. Harrison?
Macksburg right now, I would be in shelter, the same in Harrison. We did have a report earlier, I was just looking at the NWS track of a tornado near Macksburg. So again, anytime you're in a tornado warning this evening, you want to take it seriously and get to where you're safe. You know, the best thing to do is to put as many walls and ceilings between you and the storm as you can. So if you have a basement to go to, that's obviously the best place to go. If not, a closet, as silly as it sounds, a bathtub is a good place to go. You're surrounded by 4 pretty thick walls there. Obviously, you want to protect your head. What hurts people...
We want to get to Jeriann, too, for just a second.
No,
Go ahead,
I was having him do the graphic there. So, no, he's doing a great job.
Oh, good. All right. You're doing a good job.
Oh, thanks. I'm waiting for a positive review. Yeah, that's fine. But obviously, what hurts people in tornadoes is the debris, the flying debris, and you know the whole point of all this is to protect yourself from that, and that's where the walls and the ceilings and things like that come in. So please do take these warnings seriously tonight. We've shown you the damage that it's done across western Iowa and parts of Nebraska, and you know obviously this is a serious situation tonight.
Also, we still have some video that we've used earlier, I think, from the Shelby area. Guys back in the control room will wait for you to get it ready, but we want to just show you some of the damage that has come out of this storm system. It's extensive. This is the kind of damage that you see out of this cell. This is near Shelby, the tornado that the chasers there were watching as they filed in behind this, and we have a large group of chasers out there tonight. As they come upon, this is the sad part about chasing. You come upon these areas that are hit so hard, you need to stop and help those people get out of their damaged homes, make sure that they're safe. We have had reports of injuries in Nebraska, and I haven't heard of any specific injuries here in western Iowa from Shelby, but I'm telling you, this is some serious damage, and we want to just make sure that everybody stays safe. We like to make sure that we know where those storms are, make sure you know where they are, but afterwards, it's all about helping people.
I want to show folks here on Max 1, just north of Afton here, we've got a pretty good debris signature there. And so this is what's on the radar called correlation coefficient. So not to get too nerdy, but the radar sends out beams in 2 planes, one horizontal, one vertical. And because of that, it can tell if you've got raindrops in the storm that are all kind of the same size, or hailstones in the storm that are all kind of the same size, or if you've got debris that a tornado is picking up, like pieces of houses and roofs and things like that. Well, when we see something like this on the debris signature, that means that debris is unfortunately getting picked up here to the north of Afton. And so obviously folks in that area, please take shelter right now as we have a tornado on the ground producing debris in that area.
Yeah, it's called a debris ball because it does look like kind of a ball down at the end of that tornado when it's on the ground. And as we mentioned, the availability of these radars these days, it is so much improved. But there's that circulation so prominent within that area, just southwest of Lorimor, Creston. We mentioned again, folks who are within this line, you need to be seeking shelter. Take it seriously, because this is either maybe outbuildings from a farm, possibly a small town, but we want to make sure that you're watching this and staying with us throughout the rest of this evening. I know in Des Moines, one of the largest population here in the state, you're saying, hey, Wayne, you guys are still on the air. Well, we're on the air because it is our duty to make sure that you stay well aware of these tornado warnings. And when you have a hook like that is so prominent with that spin north of Afton moving to the northwest, you know that people are going to be in the way of harm. We want to make sure that they have that opportunity to stay safe, just like you would want if your home was in the path of these tornadoes. This is all moving to the north and to the west, each one of these cells. The whole system is moving closer, I should say, to the northeast, moving to the east and getting closer to the metro of Des Moines. But that's, again, some scattered activity. But Kent, Creston, please seek shelter, stay there. Even up towards Spalding and then north of Afton. That's a very definite signature that continues to move to the northeast as I try to keep my words not so funneled up here for you. But a 41-mile-per-hour path on this will take it through Afton at 7:56 and then at Tallmadge right around 8:02. Tonight. Jeriann, what have you got going on up west?
Well, I am putting out about that tornado warning that is where we're seeing it around the Afton area. Okay, that tornado warning is in effect until 8 p.m. Again, that includes Adair, Madison, Union County. And the latest information coming in around 7:33 confirmed the tornado was located near Afton, and it is moving northeast at around 30 miles per hour. And we're continuing to see in the track of this tornado Winterset, Earlham, and it will continue to advance off to the east-northeast. Now, I was looking at some new information, so I do want to show you the big picture here because we've been stressing that these storms are pretty much just sitting in western Iowa over the same areas over and over again, that tornado watch is still just in effect for western Iowa, but there is some indication now that they do believe these storms will continue to hold together enough and be strong enough that tornado watch will be expanded here shortly, but I'm guessing they're just too busy covering all these tornado warnings to do that just yet. But there is some word on the street here that we are going to expand that tornado watch as these storms continue to cause problems and produce tornadoes, even though it's starting to make it into the cooler air. And you can see just based on this picture right now, these storms are knocking on the door of the metro, with the strongest storms now moving into Madison County.
So if we go back to Max 1 here, just got a report, and Jeriann, you probably saw this on the chat, of a tornado being reported near Reading, Iowa. This is the storm we watched coming out of northern Missouri, now unfortunately moving up toward in the general direction of Mount Ayr and Kellerton. I'll get a storm track on this for you. I want to find out how we're doing on the warning here right now, but obviously folks in those areas need to be taking shelter right now. Let me get...
This is the same one that was moving out of Grant just down to the south into sections of Missouri that we were talking about earlier. Jason was showing the rotation on this, and now moving to the northeast at around 41 miles per hour.
So again, Mount Ayr. And again, it's kind of tough to do a storm track when they're this far away from the radar, so I'm kind of guessing where the tornado might be on the ground there. But in general, in that part of the world, if you're in any of these warnings, again tonight, it's just best to take shelter. Make sure you're able to get information, maybe from a phone, maybe from a television. Our 13 Warn Me app's a good way to do that. Bring a laptop or a tablet with you so you can stay informed. But definitely take these warnings seriously tonight.
We are continuing to get all kinds of information from folks. We ask you to send us your pictures on PhotoLink. We have had a lot of pictures, but honestly, we've been so busy we haven't been able to get them from our weather team here on the air. But I know that our news folks are back here. Janae Town is still sitting up at our desk waiting if we need her help as well. And we will have a lot of news coverage on this massive weather event that's happening right now a little bit later on. We will get to your pictures as well and post them, but we want to make sure the people in Kent, just to the east of Kent, and then back up toward Creston, moving toward Afton. This is that
these guys are really
line
getting worked over tonight.
they are, and this is still a brilliant, really a tight wrap on that particular tornado, and still people there seeing these tornadoes on the ground. Even as we get closer to losing all of daylight, we want to make sure that every one of our storm spotters stays safe. The local law officials, firemen, they're all trained to get out there to make sure that they stay safe. All of those folks, we thank you for what you do, but when it gets so dark, it is dangerous for those spotters to be out as well. Very definite, really perfect looking hook there, and this is that new, extended warning from Arispe back up toward Afton. And boy, every time, Jason, you put that velocity scope on there, you can see that definite spin. Same thing just to the north, and that's where just west of Lorimar, we still have storm spotters saying that the tornado's on the ground. It is still obvious. We're still not just radar indicated. We use that term a lot during tornado warnings to let you know that nobody's seeing it, but we're watching it on radar. Well, folks are there on the ground watching this thing move to the north and to the east.
Yeah, and I feel badly certainly for everybody out there who's been affected by this tonight, but the folks certainly around Creston and Afton have just seen these storms go by time and time again. Just put a storm track on the storm that's heading in the general direction of Madison County up here. So Barney 751, that's coming up in 12 minutes or so. East Piru 759 and Truro at 804. And again, if you're in any of these warnings, definitely best thing to do is to take shelter tonight.
I mentioned folks sending us information. You maybe every once in a while be able to hear the ding in the background here. That's another message being sent to us through our computers and onto our emails, and we're just keeping up with what we have on the air live right now. But from Winterset, you guys are right within this same spot. Not as much of the spin there, but down to the south and to the west of you. And as one of the Winterset viewers said, well, that's where our tornado started back in March, and where they had, again, right out of Creston, that tornado line moved right up to Winterset. You know, folks who have gone through this kind of thing, they know what to look for. And again, it's fear, but we want to make sure that you're not afraid, that you're safe, that you stay well aware of this. That's why we're still on the air here at 7:40, coming out of our 6 o'clock newscast. But Creston, man, that is still so, again, tightly wrapped and so visible. Again, still quite a ways away from our radar, but we're getting closer here from Winterset to Lorimar. I really believe that that, again, is a excellent signature of a tornado that's right there, but with those folks that are on the ground as well, they're seeing it on the ground and still lifting up even debris as we go through this late evening hour. Mount Air, guys, seek shelter at this moment. Love that town, great folks there. Another RV TV spot with some wonderful folks. We want to make sure that you're getting to the safe space right now. Make sure you're, as we mentioned, between you and the outdoors should be as many levels as possible. The basement, stay away from windows. Make sure that you're, again, protecting yourself and get ready. We've seen a lot of damage. The Shelby area is a perfect example of folks who got hit. Hopefully we're safe, but then you have to crawl out of that stuff. So make sure you have the proper footwear, headgear, whole 9 yards. And this, again, is just that line of same isolated tornadoes, but along the same long line of these storms that continue to press right into southwestern Iowa and extending all the way from Missouri. We have severe a tornado watch down there all the way back up into Carroll tonight.
So we have a report from the emergency manager down in Union County, that's the Creston area, of a developing tornado at 3111 High and Dry Road. 3111 High and Dry Road. Another tornado on the ground being reported by media near the Creston Municipal Airport, yet again in Creston. Tonight. So what a night it's been down there in Union County, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we're still getting a lot of folks who are showing us some incredible video, even in the Shelby area. That's some of the video that we saw earlier. But we keep getting a lot of folks who are sending us new images and pictures, video of that area of western Iowa, and I know that we're going to find a lot more of those pictures, I'm afraid, from Creston right back up to the Winterset area, Lorimore, Macksburg. You need to make sure that you're seeking shelter. Highway 169, make sure that if you're driving there, or you know someone that is, make sure that you're pulling over when you see these tornado warnings. And that's the best thing to do, is not to get under a bridge. That, again, is just going to increase the velocity of the wind, kind of like putting your thumb over an open garden hose, how the water increases. Well, when you're under a bridge, it will increase the wind and do more damage to your vehicle or to you. So get to the lowest level if you can find a secure place. A lot of places like Casey's or a Come and Go, or even some of the grocery stores who have these big refrigerated areas, that's a pretty safe place. If you can get in, they will take care of you. We've seen that happen over and over. I'm just right now looking up at our live view, and I'm looking at what's going on with Roger. We have Roger Riley out, and I'm not sure exactly where he is, but he's looking into the back side of this system. He went out early again, and again, that's where we're finding it. I'm sorry, couldn't hear our producer. Oh, Elias. I'm sorry, Elias. Yeah, Elias Johnson is going out. He's been out, and again, it started to chase this storm and watching it come toward Van Meter. So I couldn't tell which one of our live cameras that is, but that's where it's getting so dark, and this is live. He said earlier, where should we go? And I said, you don't have to go very far west. This thing is completely encompassing western Iowa and moving right toward us. So they went out. Look at that lightning. That's a concern, obviously, but tornado warnings moving to the west of where Elias is. He's near Van Meter, but look how that line continues to just build. And boy, some of the worst is down to the south and to the western corner of the state.
Ed, we have a new tornado warning now for Adair, Clark, Madison, and Union.
Do you have that one, Jeriann?
Yes, I do. It just came up, but I mean, there's so many tornado warnings all coming in at the same time. So if I could just break it down for you, we're going to click on each one here on Max 2 so I can walk you through the different tornado warnings in effect. And again, with each one that I'm talking through, these are the areas where we're getting confirmed tornadoes, many reports of tornadoes on the ground, and we're continuing to get reports out of Union County of nonstop tornadoes on the ground. If I had lived in Union County, I would be in the basement right now. That is the best place to be. All right, let's go through these tornado warnings, and let's start with this one in Ringgold County first. And again, that's in effect until 8 p.m. at this point. And at around 7:34, there was a confirmed tornado, as we talked you through, near the Reading area, and that is moving northeast at a speed of around 40 miles per hour. And let's take you up here with that Creston tornado, because we're continuing to hear reports of it touching down near the hospital, touching down near the airport as well. That tornado warning is in effect until 8:30. That includes Adair, Clark, Madison, and Union County. And our last update with that tornado warning was at 7:43, just a few minutes ago. And again, that's in effect until 8:30, but near Creston, moving off to the northeast at a speed of around 35 miles per hour. And that is now moving into Madison County as well, getting closer to the Winterset area. And with each one of these tornado warnings, it is textbook material for showing radar indicated tornadoes, as well as we're continuing to see what we would look for to show it radar indicated, but we're also getting reports that it's actually touching the ground. This is the last tornado warning in effect, and this is for Adair, Madison, and Union County, and that's in effect until 8 p.m. as well. But each of these are highlighted in purple, giving you an indication that these are confirmed tornadoes. This is just not tornado warnings indicated by radar. They're actually on the ground and causing damage. And this storm is moving off to the northeast at a speed of around 30 miles per hour. Now we're getting lots of reports around Reading. Are you seeing all this stuff coming in right now?
Creston as well. As you mentioned, that Union County area just getting hit so hard, but some of the damage to a retirement center there, also some that we've not seen pictures of, but we've heard from viewers that there was maybe some damage to rooftops at the hospital. So all within that same line, moving straight to the north and to the east up near St. Charles. And this gives you an idea of how serious this situation is. Gabe Prough, one of our meteorologists, lives in an area without without, again, a basement. But he's coming in, as we all do, to come in and help each other. But he feels safer with a place where he can get to the basement. That's part of the reason that we're on the air. We want to make sure we don't take it for granted either. We want to make sure that you stay safe. This is
Ed, I wanted to mention, I'm sorry to interrupt you
there,
that that cell down by Mount Air. Not only are we looking at circulation down here, but I was just looking at radar. You can see behind it down here this spike heading down toward Redding. There's probably also some big hail in that storm.
Yeah. And Mount Air, you need to be seeking shelter right now. That's right on your doorstep. It's moving right toward you, and that is going to cause some damage. As we said, large hail possible out of these systems where we see that intense lift giving us baseball-sized hail. It takes a lot to keep that hailstone aloft for that period of time, but that just indicates what kind of severe weather we're dealing with. So Mount Air, you're getting that signature right over your town right now as we speak. You should have been in your shelter here within the last few minutes as we were talking about it, but right across Highway 169 toward Grand River, Kellerton, you should also be seeking shelter. Stay in the basement, stay away from windows, and that is moving to the north and east at around 39 miles per hour. Elston will be seeing this storm by 8:08, 8:14 for Grand River. All of that moving northeast out of this one cell, but as we've showed you throughout the day and throughout the evening, this is a long, long line of severe thunderstorms that have turned into tornadoes, have rebuilt into more tornadoes. So just the pulsing of this system is pretty impressive, to say the least, not in a good way, obviously. Creston, Lorimor, Winterset, that again is an observed tornado on the ground from the Creston area. We had that from folks in the newsroom, Erin Kiernan passing that along to us tonight, and you can see that some of her friends in the Creston area did say there was some damage there, so we'll check on that. St. Charles, you need to be seeking shelter. Straight south of the Des Moines Metro is what we're talking about in that particular vicinity. And then Greenfield, during the severe thunderstorm warning, we're watching this base level though, that spin right there, and then back up around Highway 169. I would estimate that there could be some of that twist within that particular cell.
Yeah, I want to take a closer look at that, what's going on in Madison County for sure. And obviously this is all, I want to let folks know there are severe thunderstorm warnings out there, especially in the line behind this main line we've been dealing with, and we want you to take those seriously as well. But for obvious reasons, we have so many tornadic circulations out there tonight, we need to focus on that threat before we focus on the thunderstorm threat.
Well, and that, yeah, this is the main objective for us tonight. That's why we're on the air, is to make sure that you're staying safe and in your safe place when we have these tornado warnings. This is a long period of time. Again, can't stress enough, we don't want to hear our own voices. We're not that impressed with ourselves, but we want to make sure that you stay weather aware as this system moves in. Jeriann.
All right, we have Elias Johnson, who's out in the elements right now. We're told he's near DeSoto, but he talked with folks around Creston. This looks like some blinding rain, Elias. Are you sure you're in a safe spot there?
Yeah, we're safe. I feel safe with photographer Chris Parsons here. We just hit an absolute wall of water as we headed west out of the metro, and now there's this kind of ominous clearing you can see out in the distance now. But it went from, you could see darkness to green, and now we're getting through some rain as we head west out of DeSoto, and you can see some clearing out in the distance here. I have been in contact with some law enforcement folks who have been tracking where emergency assets have been dispatched throughout the state here right now. Union County has a ton of emergency response right now. As far as Creston goes, it sounds like major damage to buildings on the west side of that town by the hospital area. Walmart, I was told, they've been responding to. So right now, it's a major response as far as where all of these emergency and first responders have been heading to make sure, number one, if anybody's been injured in any of these storms, and then also to make sure people are staying out of areas where it's been unsafe. We're not sure if power lines have been toppled. That's always a concern when these storms roll through, and we do have those types of situations. But now the rain's starting to let up. We're seeing a little bit of a break here, still a lot of lightning in the area, and it's just, you definitely don't feel like this is, I've seen so many cars, with flashers on now. just trying to make it to wherever they're going, but very active out here. And it's been amazing to see the changes with the colors in the sky as we've been out here within the last 45 minutes or so into this area that you folks are talking a lot about right now.
Elias, thank you for that helpful information. But again, we do want you to stay smart and safe, and he is traveling off to the south right now, and that's where we're continuing to see more redevelopment of storms. A new tornado watch has been issued. Now, this does include the city of Des Moines. It has been expanded to include a good part of central Iowa here. I know there's a lot of colors on this map, but the yellow is indicating that tornado watch that remains in effect until midnight. And again, all the tornado warnings right now are just to the south and east, or southwest Iowa, excuse me, and that's near Creston as well as the Winterset area. We also have one other tornado warning in Ringgold County at this point, and these storms continue to move off to the east northeast, but still showing rotation on radar at this point. And I do want to put into motion the radar picture just so you can see exactly what's going on here, because these storms are finally moving off to the east and advancing and moving out of some of these areas hit so hard. We saw Harlan hit 2 or 3 times by a very strong storm system. Still strong storm around Carroll, getting closer to Fort Dodge as well. I really don't think Ames is going to see the strongest storms here, as you are much cooler and things are calming down as we're getting closer here to sunset. But we are watching this storm complex right around Madison County, and we're getting another report of a tornado east of Afton. So let's go to that one if we can.
And that's an area that we've been watching throughout the afternoon, just like, are you kidding me? And one more that is just popping up in that same spot. That's why we're still here and keeping your storm TV coverage going. We have meteorologist Gabe Prough just walking in as well. So this is going to be a very busy next couple of hours. We have Grand River. You need to be seeking shelter right now from Highway 169, this same area where we have 1, 2, 3 tornado warnings where they are observed. Those tornadoes are on the ground. That's that outline in that pink is just flashing there for you. That's for Adair, Madison, and Union counties, that tornado warning until 8 o'clock. The direction of that storm follows the polygon, so it starts a little bit thinner here and then gets wider. That's the direction that we expect, kind of a fanning effect, but keeping in mind that this can take a turn, but we want to make sure that everyone south of Winterset on Highway 169, you need to be seeking shelter out of that particular cell. You can see that twist on that. We do have that inflow, outflow, but also showing off a pretty decent hook echo on the radar, which indicates, again, possibly a tornado, but this one is confirmed. It's not radar indicated. 39 mile per hour is the speed of this storm, moving toward Old Piru and then back up towards St. Charles, St. Mary's, those 2 towns right there, very close to one another. Want to make sure that you're seeking shelter right now, getting in the basement and away from as many walls, or put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible, but also away from windows. That's where we get the debris thrown into the windows. It can cause a lot of damage and harm. Creston, you guys are still underneath this system, and look at that right there. That's where Jason is pushing in with our velocity scope, and you can see that's that turn right there. At the green to the red is the flow of the wind. As we see those two, it's called gate-to-gate shear, where we have red and creeping right up to the green or staying right on it. That is a classic tornado signature for sure.
Also getting reports, are you guys seeing this stuff out of Madison County right now? Some reports of a church there reporting some rotation, and that would be in Winterset.
We continue to get that information coming in, and again, we've seen some pictures. Our photo link is there at WHO13.com. Go to the weather page. You can upload your pictures, and we'd like to see, again, you staying safe. Do not take the time to go outside and take a picture when we have tornado warnings right at your doorstep. But here's the warned areas here from just around Creston, the Afton area, right up toward the Winterset area, moving in that direction. Farther to the south, Mount Ayr, just picking up a massive storm across your doorstep there. I am concerned that there may have been that tornado moving almost right across your small town there. We love that town very good people there as well. But that kind of hook echo also is signifying that we still have a lot going on within that particular storm. Could even see some hail aloft or high velocity winds that peak up at the top of that particular radar return. It is farther away from the radar, back down into southern Iowa, so this radar is above the ground quite a ways. But Beaconsville, Grand River, and Hopeville, from now until 8:25, all of you folks need to be seeking shelter. Even though you're outside in Grand River, outside of that tornado warning, we've seen this tornado line just completely rebirth itself as we go through one tornado after another. It's a rejuvenation of these tornadoes, and that's where we're really concerned for folks that may think, hey, it's all over with, right? Well, it completely has shown us over and over tonight that these cells redevelop another tornado right behind it. And there's also a lot of training of these storms, so a lot of rainfall coming down at the same time. Some of these storms could become rain-wrapped, where we have storm spotters. I'm seeing fewer of those storm spotters kind of putting out their information tonight, so maybe they're even thinking about, hey, this may not be so safe. But from Des Moines now, we're getting right up to that western edge of the state of Des Moines in the center of the state. I want to make sure that everybody's staying safe, though, within the tornado warnings. Look how close it is to Des Moines, just right up to Madison County, right into Warren, almost Warren County here from Indianola, or it is Warren County, and then right up to southwestern sections of the metro.
Union County Emergency Manager reporting a tornado crossing 170th and Palomino. 170th and Palomino is where they're reporting that tornado right now. So this is the area of rotation right up here northeast of, northwest rather, of Afton that they're talking about. And again, this would be northeast at 40-ish on the movement. So
we keep repeating many of the same towns' names, you know, Preston,
right.
Afton, Lorimore. You need the Orient-Maxburg area too. Just seeing a lot of this severe weather tonight, the tornado warnings, but also the damage that has been done, especially western Iowa. Shelby, I keep seeing more and more pictures and video now coming in as people probably feel it's safe to send it, but there was a lot of damage there in the western section of our state. And then from Arispe, you're just outside of that, but St. Charles to Winterset, this storm continues to move to the northeast, and it's getting very close to the Des Moines metro. So this tornado warning that's all in red, that means it's radar indicated. That's what our radar is showing here. But we also had many of these storms that have